Hey everyone.
Hi guys.
Just so you know, she just said she was going to quit the show and she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. So
fake news.
she's going to leave the frame and then it's just going to be me.
And then we're going to bring Harry back.
Vibration singular. Harry's not coming back. You're taking him. You're taking him with you. Well, however he wants to describe himself, I'm sure.
Hi guys.
I'm Liz.
I'm Lily Emma.
Welcome back to Blonde Vibrations.
This is Champagne Whispers episode 32. Sorry, I had to check, even though I told you that it was episode 32, but as I was saying it...
But you didn't say the word 32, I did, so maybe that's it. It's
as
not
I
in
was
your head.
saying it, I was like, I don't think that is right, but it is! 32, that is crazy.
Crazy times,
I
32,
know.
older than Harry now.
Yeah.
Everything is viewed in Harry's terms, it would seem.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, that's good or bad, depending on how you feel. I've had a haircut, by the way, if you are
Isn't it so
watching.
short?
So
it
short.
doesn't even go off the camera anymore.
That's crazy times. How do you feel? Well, it's staying at the back anyway because it's a bit greasy. So, you won't be seeing it that
It was
much.
quite nice today. I didn't recognise you when I was walking up to you though. I think because there is so much of your natural hair colour, I just didn't... I think it makes you look more like mature.
Thank you. I wonder if it's some sort of combination between having it like actually I've straightened it, not just like brushed it.
It is just
And-
so blonde. Like, that's crazy that is your natural colour. Like, I'll never get over that.
Contrary to beliefs of some people.
Who thinks she's ginger?
I do understand though. I get it.
You have a
lights.
strawberry like tone to it.
And I'm sure there's some people who are like watching being like, why are you saying blonde? It's not. But like when it's the difference between being in like a dark room and a light room, and it's not even like I just don't want to claim ginger. I want to be like, I would love to put like a ginger gloss on my hair. I think it's so pretty.
Maybe that's what you should do. Grow it out and then put it on.
Well, I like this, so it's all right. But like, I think if you put me next to someone actually with red hair, you can always tell the difference.
Like you next to our housemate.
Yeah, because like my hair would kind of like fall dull next to
Yeah.
someone with that like vibrancy, even if I have like warm hair. Well, someone, and this is a tangent of the day, and I'm not gonna name their name. Someone I went to school with used to get so upset because someone would say that she was ginger. She'd be like, "My hair colour's bronze. It's bronze."
Yeah, but when we were growing up, it was bad to be ginger.
I think like if it kind of depended on the like tone of it, because if it was like you're through and through ginger, like the word couldn't hurt you even if people were.
Yeah.
It was when there was a bit of like discrepancy, so someone would fall on the like, I'm not, and then if someone would be like, you're ginger though, they'd be like, well, I'm so offended by that, but at least, well, it's trendy now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Everyone wants to be ginger.
if any gingers are out there watching, then like you're the buzz hair colour right now. Although actually, so is brunette.
Brunette's really in.
It's like on the rise, isn't it? Because I think
Yeah.
it must have been not that she did it first, but one of the big people of like the blonde was Hailey Bieber,
Yeah.
and the dog that looks like Hailey Bieber.
That looks like Hailey Bieber.
Oh yeah, we'll send it to Becky. And the boy, the dog that looks like.
The dog that looks like Justin Bieber. Yeah. I think we're kind of in like a post-clean girl world where people just want to be like healthy, and I think brown hair is almost like a symbol of that.
It's so obviously unless you're naturally, no one is naturally so bleach blonde though. There's a difference between being naturally blonde and then like bleach blonde. Like you are like a different type.
We're
if
in
you
a
are
like
the-
I feel like we're in a post-platinum blonde world, as reflected by Liz's dip dye.
Well, this is just the post, like, brokenness / alopecia world. So, like, it's like, I'm not doing it to be like, I'm just so over platinum blonde hair. Like, if I had the money, maybe I would still
I
have
feel
it.
like we are. Like, you always see people on TikTok being like, get rid, like, blonde blindness.
There's also the whole, and this has nothing to do with the episode, weirdly. There's usually some sort of, like, we can pull this into it. But there's also the whole uproar of your natural everything being the best feature for you, like your natural eyebrow colour, your natural eye colour, which I know people are like, oh, obviously, but it's the whole contact lens of it all, and then your natural actual hair colour. Natural. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you guys have your natural hair
I
colour?
have one more tangent, and I'm kind of scared to say where it's from.
Don't then. Just skirt around it.
But there's a new bubble tea place near us.
Wait, I have one too. We got the same thing because it was
Make
buy
sure
one
you-
get one free.
No one cares, but it's just a bit too close to where we live to comfortably share it. But it's a golden passion fruit mango tea with popping passion fruit pearls.
Also, if we told you where it was and then people actually went, they'd stop doing buy one get one free, because that's the whole like. That's why we went. It was £5 for both of them, like £5.80, which means
For a
it's
bubble tea, that's crazy, and it was large.
like less than £3 each in this day and age when bubble tea is another hype. So you could easily charge like £7 for a bubble tea. We wouldn't get it, but you could do it. Anyway, let's get on to what we are here to discuss
I've
today.
got passion fruit in my teeth. That was silly.
Just a whole lot of passion for today's episode.
Again.
This week we are discussing, can I fire my bridesmaid? Oh my goodness.
Scandalous.
No way. And the crazy part is that we are at the age that this is a real debate for people.
You know, this is crazy. That, and I'm not gonna like name names, and if you're our friends, we're not talking about you. But now and then we'll like see someone or we'll talk about someone and we'll be like, God, like I bet everything we do we're like being tested for like bridesmaid status or like wedding guest status. Like now and then I like think of a friend and I'm like, God, I really should like be a bit nicer to their boyfriend so that like I can secure that wedding guest spot. And that is crazy to me. You know what else is crazy? That, and I've said this to everyone I know, we went to a housewarming the other day and we realised that we were at the age that you kind of need to take like flowers to a housewarming.
like a bottle of wine.
Whereas like when the last time we went to a housewarming, it was like a like BYOB, like bring your own vodka.
You can bring
like,
a packet of crisps if you're feeling nice.
Yeah, it was like you did not need to do it. Whereas now it's kind of like people have like selected their like place that they want to live. Like they've selected their area of London. They're paying an extortionate amount. Do you know what I mean? Like they've really like hand selected this thing that it actually is like a celebration of settling, not just like a like excuse.
Because also when back on like the bridesmaid part,
circle back.
when you were like 15 and you were like, these girls are going to be my bridesmaid, wow, like the chances are you might not know them in 10 years time. Is the person that they're with still going to be in their life? Are they going to be the one they're marrying in 10 years time?
This is actually kind of one of my points.
Then I'll circle it back.
Like,
but
pin that because that's one of my like first.
But now we are actually mid-20s and some of those people never left our life. And now
I know.
they might be with a different person, they might still be with that person, but it's actually real. I have not had the fortunate happening of being asked to be a bridesmaid just yet, but I've seen it happen to people that I know in real life now, and it is crazy to be like,
it's so
you're
weird.
helping someone that we knew when we were in school uniform and like failing tests, etc. They're now picking out a wedding dress and a venue and a hen do, and it's just
it's
crazy positive because it's really cool to like see everyone be the thing that you'd always talk about.
Someone said to me the other day at work, someone was like, oh, how do you feel about your birthday? And they were like, it's like a blessing to be growing old. And it's like, that's such like a like classic cringy thing to say, but you know, sometimes you just need that reminder, and I feel like I really needed it like this September with like freshers moving around into our like vicinity. Like you do kind of need that, like I think we have very like positive outlooks to growing up as a pair and kind of moving on, but I think we're kind of in that stage now where it's kind of like you feel very like a little bit existential and a little bit like self-reflective all the time. But I do think like while we're saying, oh my god, it's crazy that like we're of this age that like people we know are being bridesmaids, I'm like, you know, like you guys know Caitlin was her sister's maid of honor. Like that is crazy to me, and like hearing like the stories of that wedding, it's just like, oh my god, like, and like it's not like a like she's my sister so I'm gonna be her maid of honor. It was like an actually like their friend siblings, like she was actually like in every way of the word.
It's just wild.
It's crazy, and it is like, yeah, like you were saying, like, it is a positive thing that people are like having these milestones and celebrating them, but it does really dawn that we are not 18 anymore.
No. And like I don't even personally, this is just again not even answering the question yet, but I don't personally look at this and think like, oh, why aren't I getting married yet? Like it's very much just either you are and you're in that realm, or you're not, and like that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like a ticking time bomb, like the clock is like whoa, this and that. It's
Yeah.
just like a wow, people are doing it now. Not everyone, which is quite nice. It's not like, oh, my friends are married, I'm a single one.
Yeah.
That would be a good topic. Because there's actually more single people in our life than there are relationship people. It's just some of those people have now gone beyond and they're like engaged. And when you load up Instagram, you're like, another ring.
Yeah.
Why is it shining in my face? Like, there's another one.
It's crazy. But we have like 3 kind of branches off of this. Because I feel like you do need context to the whole, like, can I fire my bridesmaid? So we've got kind of 3 scenarios, but also they could be combined. There's probably a crossover. It's a Venn diagram.
Yeah. I'll say them all first. So we're not as close as when I asked her.
Oh, I've put here instead of her.
That's okay. We butted heads with the planning process, and then horrific wording. But there's budgets, there's financial strings are tightening, and there needs to be a cut the fat dumping.
which is a phrasing that we use too often. Like, we use this phrase multiple times a week, and it's because when we were watching Love Island UK, which was embarrassingly long ago now, when they started getting rid of people after Casa Amor, we saw like a tweet or something that was just like, these cut the fat dumpings, or like a headline or something, and we were like, that can be used for everything.
I really changed the game.
Take something off your meal plan, cut the fat. You don't get the groceries you wanted, cut the fat. Like,
oh, but
crazy,
that we'll get to that. Should we?
Crazy.
I actually did say like a main point, and I'll also get to it at the end. But the main point is you're going to be looking at pictures of this wedding for years to come. So regret is the big word. Is if you're whatever step you take with these next like subtopics, if you're going to look back and think like, oh no, I should edit them out, or like I need to cut them out, like, crop them out, then you need to get rid.
In that kind of how we're starting to our kind of mindset coming in, I also think I'm a strong believer in, like, if you're thinking, is it a no? It probably isn't a yes. Do you know what? If you have that bit of doubt, especially with something like so like almost black and white, like, if you want someone to be involved in your wedding or not. If you're umming and ahhing, it's probably going to lean towards no, because if you were sure and if you were that secure in your friendship, you wouldn't be questioning it. Like, you're not going to see me being like, I don't know if I want Alice to be in my bridal party. And if I wasn't, there was going to be a big problem.
I think that is true, but there's steps before the big no, because there's the questions that you have to ask yourself, because although it's a black and white statement, I don't think the reasoning's always black and white, because there are a lot of steps before that.
I think, kind of going back to what you were saying at the start, I think people sometimes don't take bridesmaid asking as seriously as it should be. I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't know if I'm overthinking and I'm just a bit of a, like, organised freak. But I think, like, when you're growing up and, like, when you first, like, seeing someone, you're always like, oh, like, well, I'm gonna get married and you're gonna be a bridesmaid. And we have it, like, we're always like, oh, who's gonna be in my bridal party? And you always think about it. Yeah,
right now.
But, like, actually, it's not as simple as that, and it is a very big commitment. As you were saying, with kind of, these are going to be your photos that you're going to look at. This is a big milestone that you want to make sure that everyone in your party and who you're going to be spending so much time with actually does mean something to you and is special. Money aside, because we're going to go over that. And I think, like, this is why this kind of we're not that close anymore thing comes up, because you don't majorly think about the longevity of friendships, because friendships are so, like, not linear and so, like, varied. There's no timeline. Like, you can't look at someone and be like, I think I'm going to be friends with her for the next, like, 6 months. Like, it just doesn't work like that. And I think you have to do some real, like, hard soul searching of being like, my wedding is in a year, it's in a month. Who is actually going to be in my life and who can I count on? And you know what, you might get it wrong, and, like, in a year's time, someone who you were like, oh, I'm not going to be that close to them in a year's time because, you know, they've just got that new job and it's just not going to work. You might still be close with them, but you'd rather just not have asked them.
Yeah, you can always last minute ask as well. Like, it's better to add someone last minute and be like, not going to lie, we just got really close, but I can't do this without you in, like, the posse. Than to be like, I don't want you in the posse. But I think it depends on why you're not as close anymore as well. because I've said if it's just a general, you know, I asked this person to be my bridesmaid. She actually lives in Australia, but like I know she's going to come, and it's just a vibe like that. But then we've actually not spoken in 3 months, but there's a lot to it. All I'm doing is working in wedding planning. I said that she's not going to be involved particularly. So, you know, she's doing her own thing, and we just aren't really syncing up. Is there a way you can resync in anticipation? Because when you look at the 10 to 15 years, like, or forever of this marriage, the people you're taking into this marriage with you are the bridesmaids. Are you thinking, no, I really do see them in 15 years. Like, this is just a little like, well, we're just like not really aligning. The parallel lines are just quite far away right now. But as we tend to do, we talk more in the summer. Winter, I don't know, she goes away and does whatever for the winter. But in the summer, that's when we, but the summer's when we come together, and, you know, we have our annual holiday in 2 weeks, and that's when we really like rebond. But if she's done something like a hot take or a controversial, she's done something that doesn't align with you anymore, or you're like, oh, we're kind of not the same people. And like, I've had a bit of a long engagement, and now this is 2 years, and I asked her straight away after that question was popped, because she slept over mine the next week. But now, you know, it's getting closer, and like, I don't know the last time I spoke to her. And she actually had a baby and didn't tell me. God, things like that.
This is crazy.
You know, like there's so many factors of why, if you're not the same people and you don't see it lasting, she can't be your bridesmaid just to save face.
I really like the idea of kind of you can add someone on rather than take them off, because I think the problem is how that conversation's going to go down, because like, it happens to everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone always drifts from someone at some point. And like, we've done a whole episode on this, on like
friendship breakups.
Yeah, friendship breakups and kind of drifting apart. But I think like the way forward is kind of that, try and leave it as long as possible, and kind of maybe like loosely be like, yeah, you might, like, I'm not finalizing my bridal party, but like right now, like, I'd love to have you on it, but I don't know about budgets and spaces, and like realistically, like, who's up for the commitment of kind of, you know, like, it is a big deal. And I also think that just because they have the bridesmaid title doesn't mean they can't take part in things with you. I feel like also, like, while we're saying, oh, it's such a big deal to ask someone to be your bridesmaid, it's also kind of not. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could
just to be at the wedding is a big deal.
And also, like, they could still go to your hen do if you're not a bridesmaid. Like, they can still hang out with you guys. They can still get ready with you. Like, yes, it's the done thing that's the bridesmaids, but also, like, at the end of the day, what is a bridesmaid? It
doesn't have to be the exclusive club that it probably once traditionally was, because weddings in itself just aren't really that traditional anymore. So you can loosen the restraints to however you like want it to be. I think in that case, if they're like, we're not as close, like, you might not need the conversation unless it's actually really worrying you. What would be the best situation, and no one's going to agree to this, is if someone else said something. You know, if you had your maid of honour. So if I okay, I'm getting married, and you're my maid of honour in this, and let's just say Caitlin, me and Caitlin just aren't really talking like that. We're not vibing.
Caitlin's going to be sat at home like, I can't believe you guys said that about me.
Not you, never you. I'd want to be like, because, you know, you have to take on a bit more responsibility as a maid of honour. I think I'd want to be like, am I making the right choice? Could you maybe say, like, oh, like, bring up some conversations, be like, oh, you like absolutely pumped for this wedding? Because, you know, if she ends up saying like, oh, I don't know, we don't
dreading it,
we don't talk anymore, you can kind of steer that conversation and be like, I think you need to say something to her, so then we can meet in the middle. Like, that would actually be great if it's not like a he said, she said situation. If we can nudge it to have a gentler conversation, and it's not, okay, we're going to a bridesmaid dress fitting, and I need to be like, I don't see you in my life next year. Like, that's when it's going to have a lot more difficult, like, repercussions.
And I also think this then goes into our other point of kind of butting heads, in the sense of, like, well, like, you don't want to have this big, like, explosion. I think you kind of want your wedding to be as, like, drama free as possible. And I think having that conversation is going to be you butting heads more likely than not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it kind of feels like these two first points are kind of intertwined, the sense of, like,
it will lead to it almost.
And I think, I don't know, like, imagine if you were like, Caitlin, like, I'm not sure if you're like if we're close enough for you to be a bridesmaid right now. And she's like, what do you mean? Of course I am. Like, fine, I'll rise. Like, fine, I'll put more time in. Do you know? And then that's kind of like, oh, okay, like, I guess you can stay being my bridesmaid. Like,
I think you have to go into it with if you are going to have that conversation and knowing that it might lead to the whole butting heads thing, I think you have to know firm that, like, you're not being my bridesmaid. There's no, like, oh, like, let's work on it. I think, unless you want to really work on the friendship. But if you're like, you can't be, like, persuaded, because there's always going to be that sour taste. And you're going to know that potentially she's doing things just for the sake of it, not because she actually wanted to step up.
Yeah.
However, I think, whilst there's the maid of honour, and that's always, you know, top dog, there is kind of also a pecking order for bridesmaids anyway.
Yeah, I do think so.
So you can have, like, chief bridesmaid, who's not necessarily maid of honour, and then there's the ones, there's, like, the outer rings of it. Can they kind of, if it's a butting head situation to do with the wedding,
can they just be involved less?
Yeah, like, can it be that, of course I wanted her at the hen do's, that's one of my bridesmaids, and, like, that's the good time, that's my party friend.
Yeah.
However, we don't have the same fashion taste. She hates wedding dresses. She's gonna wear a suit at hers, what have you. I can't have her there at my wedding dress fitting and having her be like, that's too girly, that's too princessy, because we're not gonna agree. Hopefully you could then say to her, like, you're not gonna be there, but that doesn't mean you're not a bridesmaid.
Yeah,
you're just,
I agree.
you're gonna, you have that sweet tooth, you're coming with me for
cake test.
Yeah, like, hear this and that, like, you're gonna help with the party bags or whatever. Like, can there be something else that you don't butt heads about?
I feel like we're so, like, in sync and complimentary with this episode.
Really?
Because I said about the butting heads bullet point, so we're both very strong believer in having, like, friends for different scenarios.
I said that, yeah.
And that being okay, and that is so exactly that. I was kind of saying, I don't think it needs to be a toxic thing that you can kind of say. I mean, it's a bit more extreme than yours of kind of, I like the idea of the different structures, but I don't think it needs to be this big extreme, like, I don't want you to be my bridesmaid, I don't want you to be at the wedding. I think it should be, in an ideal world, you've got a better communication style, and you can kind of be like, I'm not really sure if I can see you gelling with the other bridesmaids, and maybe we kind of take a step back and kind of, like, loosen the reins a bit, and you don't have to be a part of the bridal party. But I actually think you're going to be a really great wedding guest, and I think you're going to, like, dance with my aunts, and like, I think you're going to really, like, get along and, like, lift the vibe up in a different place. And I don't necessarily think, like, even if you, like you were saying, you could be a different stage of bridesmaid, but even if you take away that bridesmaid title, it doesn't mean they're not going to be involved in the wedding. You even see in, like Sex and the City, like, I swear they weren't bridesmaids in that one. Do you know the one where people they got together at Miranda's party, and then they had the wedding really soon after, and then she had to do the guest book.
Yeah.
And Miranda wasn't a bridesmaid, right?
They just had different, like, you do this.
Yeah, like, oh, you're my friend, and, like, you know this, like, you can just pick this task up, you know, like, I think you kind of need to detach that idea of, like, yeah, you know what, if you're a title person, if you want to be able to be like, this person was a bridesmaid at my wedding, you know, like, when you're like, if and when you have kids, you can be like, oh yeah, you know, she was my bridesmaid. Then yeah, obviously, then you can have the structure. But also, if you're not kind of that fussed about that, have the friend just do something else. Just be, I don't want you to be a bridesmaid, but I still want you to be involved. But I'm just cutting down my bridesmaid party.
I wonder how the situations would change depending on how you were friends with them in the first place. Because, you know, if it was someone from your big friendship group and you'd ask them all, and there's this one person from the friendship group, you're like, nah, that's probably a bit more of a difficult conversation to have. But, you know, if you had all of your friends and you had this one work friend that you were just particularly vibing with at the time, you don't work together anymore, and you're like, well, we don't really see each other, that might be an easier conversation to be had. It could be easier to be like, I'm just kind of gonna stick to my home friends, like, and it's not, I just don't want you to be left out because you don't know them. So, you know, we all want to go on a bar crawl to all the places that we went to at uni or something, and that friend is like, no.
That you met your fiance at uni, and so your bridesmaids met him at the same time, and, like, you never know, like, there could be, like, a reason that you want that specific group of friends. And I also think, like, it doesn't necessarily need to be a massively personal thing. It could just be a dynamic thing. Like, it could just be like I don't know, I feel like you weren't really having fun with the girls, so, like, you know, it's fine if you don't want to kind of...
How would you react to that? Like, if someone said, I just don't know if you're vibing with the girls, so I'm gonna take it away. but you can still come.
I think if I actually wasn't vibing, I'd be like, thank God. I'd be like, yeah, like that's fine. Like,
would you fight for it if you were like,
I
I thought we were really getting along?
Yeah, I would. If I felt different, you'd like to think if it's like someone close enough that was once your bridesmaid, you would know their behaviours a bit more. Like if you were in my not if like it was me and you, but if me and you, alternative universe, we were just like normal average friends. We met at uni and we're just friends, and then you were in my bridal party with like a completely different group of friends, I would know if you weren't gelling.
So if I then turned around and was like, this is such a like if and whatever, but if I was then like, I was having a really nice time actually, it's a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but like I was really stepping up to that, you know. I was talking about English literature and whatnot. Like, I can do that, yeah, like Shakespeare.
Yeah, I quoted your entire thesis title.
Yeah, like,
and everyone knew what it meant.
Yeah. Would you just be like, oh, never mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think, like, in this case, the problem with the bridesmaid is that you're kind of not butting heads in an argument way, but butting heads in like a dynamic group way, in like a it's not gelling. In which case, yeah, I think it's fine to be like, oh, I'm not sure. And then if they're like, no, I'm completely happy, then I'd be like, fine.
Like, my bad.
You
carry on.
And that so would happen if it wasn't me and you. Like, that is absolutely what would happen between us. Because you would just be like quiet. I'd be like, I don't know if Liz is having fun. And then you'd be like, no, I was like, I really liked what they had to say.
I'm just feeling the like he's real quiet, but he's funny as hell. Whatever it is. I'd just be like inside I'm thinking like, people are stuck with me.
Like I'm part of a group.
Yeah. But the budget thing
this
is slightly different.
I feel like we've gone from like that awkwardest. Like I feel like this is the one that's like, this is hard to maneuver.
This one, like, is the only one that I can't quite ride for you in the same way. Like, I can't quite fully back the bride or whatever in this situation. Because, understandably, budgets do change and things like that. There is the awkward, glaringly obvious thing of, you asked them, they didn't force themselves to be this bridesmaid. You were like, I want you to be my bridesmaid, and now things have changed. This cut the fat dumping is you've selected this one person out. If the other things don't apply, then you're playing a favourites game.
Yeah.
And basically
you've
being
just decided that person has to go.
Yeah, like, I can't afford you, so you can't be it. But the rest of them can stay. You know, if it was, I didn't realise how much this was going to cost, and there was too many deposits. I'm going to keep my maid of honour. I'm cutting you all. I'm so sorry. Like, I can't do that.
Can you still, like, do stuff? I just can't afford, like...
We'll have a wine night one time, but I'm not doing the bridesmaids thing and wear clothes you already have, please, because I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's a bit different to... We're all actually going on a hen do to Malaga. But
you can't come, because I can't afford your hotel room.
Yeah, like, I was going to pay for everything, and I still am.
Yeah.
But not for you.
Oh, that's so much more awkward than I thought.
It's like, I'm on SNL and you're not.
Yeah, because I was kind of thinking, like, my initial thought was kind of like well, we're very open about money, and I appreciate like not everyone is, and I also appreciate that this is common knowledge. I feel like we always talk about like you know, the whole like money is what even was the episode? We did an episode on money and friendships. And I was kind of thinking like, just have a conversation, and like you never know, like if you say to them like I'm really struggling to like afford everyone, but like it's my friend group and then you and I just like I can't cut someone from the friend group. You never know, they could turn around and be like, you know what? I'll pay for my dress as my like I want to be involved and I don't mind. Like I'll cover whatever. Do you know what I mean? That could happen, and if they like not if they wanted to they would, but if they cared so much and they were that kind of offended, then like you kind of could be like, okay, I'll just pay for my own flights to Malaga. I'll get my own hotel room. Like, but I agree. I think it's kind of like awkward that you've had to pick that one person.
It's always going to be like a difficult road to drive down because as a bride, you don't have to pay for as much as you want. You can very much set the boundaries of either I'm going to pay for all of your dresses or clothes or whatever, and I'll pay for the flights or the meal out or whatever.
And we'll all stay in the same hotel floor and I'll buy the floor.
Or you can set the boundary very soon on, like, I can barely afford this. I don't care if you get your dress from the charity shop, but you have to pay. Or like, I can only provide this amount. If your dress that you found and you can pick goes over there, you're going to have to pay the difference. It's when you've set the expectation for something that you can't then meet, and it's not necessarily your fault, but that's at the expense of your friend, that once upon a time you did really feel that you were close enough to ask them to be the bridesmaid.
I think it goes back to kind of what we were saying at the start, where it's kind of like, you as a bride should think about things before you do it, and not just be like, I want everyone from my uni group to be my bridesmaid, because it's like not fair that you can ask someone without thinking about the commitments and the cost and things like the logistics of it. Because like you were saying, like, this person is now committed to it, they've probably like gotten to know people, they're
putting effort in some
like
capacity.
they probably got you like an engagement present. Like, it's kind of like there are more steps than just like, do you want to be my bridesmaid? Next day, oh wait, I can't afford it. Like, that's different.
Yeah,
in this scenario, I'm imagining it kind of like down the line, like the planning has started, the deposit's being put down, and you're like, oh god, like I actually can't afford that one extra one. Like, it is like, you low-key are in the wrong. Like, you should have thought about it a bit more.
Also, even if this is someone that you weren't, this isn't your best friend, but this is just one person that you were absolutely vibing with and you asked. Even if the person, say someone asked me to be a bridesmaid, and I was like, that's a bit of a shock. I really didn't think really like I was valued in that way, but that's really cool. You start to get excited about things, even if to begin with you never would have expected that, and you know it came as a bit of a surprise. You'd still be disappointed after, even if it wasn't, God, that's my lifelong childhood friend has just cut me off. That was a, whoa, well she asked me, now she's taking it back. Like, that's a bit weird. And they might be understanding of the financial element of it, but again, they weren't trying to financially burden you when you ask them to be a part of it. And I don't know how much there is a compromise of that, because you can't afford it, and if they can't afford to take on the burden of it, then they can't be it. And that's the cutting the fat, because then you can carry on and do everything to your plan, and you shouldn't have to change your whole plan. But that's not their fault. And it's a bit difficult. Like, where do you go from there? That's the one that I don't necessarily know how I would start that conversation.
No, I think it is really like a case by case. I mean, if you're combining them, you would have the whole, I think we're just not on the same page about the wedding. Money's kind of
tight right now.
And I just feel like, you know what, for the sake of like getting along and money, maybe we just like pause it here. And then what was the other bullet point? What
of the three? Butting heads,
heads,
not as close, money.
Well, there you go. It's the same thing, isn't it? It's if you're not as close, like you can just be like, we've kind of drifted. As we've drifted, I got close to the other girl. Someone needs to go. And it just needs to be that way.
I have a further question about this, and it's kind of, everything you do and say will have consequences. You can't decide how someone else reacts to something. So when you're looking, thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be friends with them in 10 to 15 years, how does that shift in your viewpoint if they then turn around and say, this is really embarrassing, I just don't think I'll come to the wedding? Because if that will really upset you probably more.
Is it easier just to kind of...
Yeah, if you were like, no, like, they're not coming. I still really like them. It was only XYZ. It's a little bit easier or harder than, you know, this person I can't stand anymore.
What is the kind of like, I don't want them to be my bridesmaid, but they're not going to come if I cancel, so I might as well keep them as my bridesmaid.
Yeah, because they could. Like,
especially if it's like your partner's like sibling. Like, that could really like...
If they were like, I'm not showing up and I don't support this wedding anymore. The only time I'm showing up is to speak now or forever hold your peace.
Just to be like, you're horrid.
I'm going to go in like a horn and start putting it there just so there's no silence, and then I'm going to push you over and leave. Like, someone could get, not to that level, but they could be like, I don't think I'm going to come then. You know, I thought we had something here. And you've just kind of really like kicked me in the teeth a little bit, and I'm a little bit too humbled that I can't show up.
Especially, and also like, they're going to have to like stand there with the other bridesmaids when they were once a bridesmaid. Yeah,
you know, we actually are all in the group chat, and the fact that you're like, I can see your fingers hovering over the remove button right now, and like, I can't do that because, you know, it's a level of pride and things like that. If you think about that situation further down the line, you think, I would regret them not coming more than I would regret having them there. Just in some of the pictures, we can take multiple levels of group pictures. Like, we can have a uni girls one, or like, oh, the Malaga girls from like 2K19 or whatever. Like, we can do this and that. We don't all have to be in all of the pictures. We can have the different levels of expectation of things. I don't know, but it might change your dynamic forever.
I think it really could.
It's more likely to than not.
Yeah, because it always is kind of like, even if it is all fine and you kind of readjust and it's fine, there was never a big argument and they just still went to your wedding but just not as a bridesmaid. It always will be kind of like, oh, I was supposed to be a bridesmaid but she asked me not to a couple of months before.
I was supposed to be in the video.
Yeah, like...
It would take, like, strong people on both ends to be like, this will not change anything.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna see you for our like Pilates 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We're still the same. It's not gonna be awkward when I bring up that I'm doing something with the bridesmaids. We're having a bridesmaid like PowerPoint night and you're not coming. Like, it's not gonna change things, because I just really think it will. But it does always go back to if you're gonna want to edit them out, you're gonna talk to your videographer and be like, can you just get the angle where they're not in it?
Yeah.
Then you know that it is so far. You know within yourself, if it's at that point, that they can't be like in those matching dresses.
And if they don't want to like be mature about it and they don't want to support you anyway, and that's kind of that. Do you know what I mean? It's not majorly your problem.
The best situation would be, and I hope it happens for you, is you have this sit down, you say, you're not going to be my bridesmaid, and they're like, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I didn't want to be.
Relieved. Yeah.
I didn't know how to bring up the fact that we haven't spoken. I have to get you an extra present, and I can't afford to go on this trip and whatever. Or actually, I don't even think I want to be your friend, let alone your bridesmaid. Then you'd be Spider-Man meme, and you just feel okay. Let's just walk out. Like,
oh my god, I was actually about to email you. Like, I don't want to do it.
I just blocked you. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
No, what the heck?
I feel like if you're feeling something, likelihood is that the other person's feeling it too. Like, it won't come as a surprise if you've drifted or if you're butting heads. Like, it actually can't be.
Yeah. I think just express the woes, whichever way they are. Well, I've actually put have a talking to, express the woes. She might step back voluntarily. Yeah. Because you could even say that, I'm just, worried a little bit about the fact that we never hang out anymore. Yeah. We're not really in sync. And the wedding's in, a month. They might be like, you're right, and I hadn't thought about it. How about I just not?
Yeah, how about I just come as a guest?
Good luck, Charlie.
Like, put me on the like random people table. That's fine. Yeah. Like, I don't need to be on the bridesmaid table.
Because you can still have a good time with them, after it's almost like bridesmaids are more important for the setup of the wedding than the actual wedding and marriage. Because at the end of the day, when you're all in that, what is it? Stately home or hall or church or whatever, you're all watching the same two people get married. It doesn't really
matter whether you're there as a bridesmaid or as a guest.
And at the end of the day, the most important thing is the person you're marrying. So if you get that bit right, the rest should fall into line in some way. Yeah. Because you're not looking at the bridesmaids, hopefully. You're not looking at the bridesmaids when you're saying I do to the person in front of you. And if you are, good luck, babe.
Oh, thanks for listening, guys.
I liked that one.
Yeah, let us know if you'd do anything differently, or if you've heard of any crazy bridesmaid stories.
Wouldn't it be crazy one time coming on here and being like, I'm engaged?
This is actually my dilemma. Caitlin, you're being cut.
Send this to the person.
I'm gonna hear that in the group chat.
Yeah, send this to the person you're cutting from the wedding.
Yeah, or someone that you're subbing in.
I put in my notes and it was such horrific wording, but it was about this cutting the fat dumping thing. I can't find it now. I think I just put unfortunately they are the fat that needs to be cut. It's just horrible. Don't say that to someone.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, if you want more blonde vibrations, you can head over to our Instagram, blonde_vibrations, or you can go to our blog, www.blondevibrations.co.uk, where we have all of our articles.
There's TikTok, Blonde Vibrations, getting back active on there again, to be quite honest with you.
You say every couple months.
Yeah, because I had a small break of like
content.
creator burnout, but I'm slowly getting
Yeah.
back there again, so you'll find us daily on there now.
Yeah, and we got some exciting stuff in the works, so
I thought of
stay
something to
tuned.
say.
Yeah, go on.
Get on TikTok, call us Tom the way we're posting daily. I'm shaking.
You ate.
I ate!
You ate.
Left no crumbs, 3-course meal.
Wow, you're making sure you keep that maid of honor title. Yeah, we've got some exciting stuff coming. If you also go on blogvibrations.co.uk, when you go on the website, put your email in. Like, I'm just trying to see something. Like, you just might want to.
You're trying to see them emails.
I don't know. Your data will be safe with us. I don't know, like that kind of made it seem like your data won't be safe. I thought she was like
Us looking at your email addresses.
But yeah, you just might want to.
Maybe. Perhaps.
But yeah, thanks for listening and watching.
Thank you. It's been real.
Follow, subscribe, 5-star review,
like, share. Show your bridesmaids, show the people that you don't want to
play
be a
this at
bridesmaid.
your bridesmaid like hen do.
Play this on a projector while you're walking down the aisle. So if we just look down right now, like, oh my god, you look so beautiful.
Oh,
I'm gonna be proud. Knowing that we're probably looking at the keys of people's laptop right now. We're like, you look so beautiful. Ah!
Like the tram floor while Caitlin's on her way to work.
Or like looking at someone's hand because they've got it in their phone. Beautiful.
Right, we're gonna go because this is getting silly. We're gonna go finish our bubble tea.
Bye.
Thanks,
Love.
guys.
Yeah.
See you in a couple weeks.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.